So here we are, Class C trucks at Talladega. Let's get it done. So if this does end up helping you out, help me out by just giving me a like and subscribe, man. So it's Talladega week on iRacing in the trucks, and you need to figure out how to get speed at Talladega. It's a huge super speedway. There's not much advantage to get here on setup. This is going to be about drafting and strategy, obviously. There is strategy to drafting, and we're going to go over that right now and figure out how to get you a win at Talladega. Same as all my other videos, we're not really going to do jack to the setup. The steering ratio is up to you, steering offset's up to you. I always set my brake bias all the way up, so if I do have to get on the brakes coming in the turn for a wreck or something, we don't lock them down and get ran over. So we're going to go with that. Basically, you don't have to change it. And we're meatballed. That's your track guide for Talladega. Good luck. Talladega will tank your I rating and safety rating, and that's just part of it. Unless you're lucky. If you think you don't need luck in racing, come to Talladega. Now, if you think you can drive through a wreck like this at Talladega without getting collected and it's not a little luck involved, you're wrong. Pace laps are long, so if you pit, you're going to get like a minute to a minute and a half in the pits. So keep that in mind. You've got a lot longer in the pits here to do repairs or anything like that. It takes a lot longer to get around to put you a lap down. The biggest thing you've got to worry about here or deal with here at Talladega is the crashes and the drafting strategy. This is a strategy track. All super speedways are. You're lucky if you stay out of the wrecks. So obviously Talladega being a wide open, full throttle super speedway, you're going to want to get your speed up on the first lap. It's going to take at least a lap to get up to speed. Just keep that in mind. Tires aren't that big a deal at Talladega. You don't have to take any tires at any point in this race if you don't want to. It's not going to cause you an advantage or disadvantage. Now, when drafting at Talladega, you only want to bump draft on the straightaways. Only bump draft on the straightaway. Do not bump draft in the turn. You'll just piss somebody off and cause a wreck. Now, let's talk more about the drafting strategy. Obviously, you're drafting all the way around this track. You're trying to stay as close as you can to the truck in front of you without getting caught up in their wrecks and their mistakes. You're trying to deal with people bump drafting you in the turns, so don't be that guy. Don't bump draft in the turns. Only bump draft on the straightaways. Don't even bump draft in the tri-oval. If the leader or the front car in a pack should be the only one getting bumped, the second car in line should be bumping the front car in line. If you're the third car in line, you should not be bump drafting, because he's going to touch the guy in front, and then you're going to touch him and push him back into the guy in front, sandwiching him in between the front car and your car, and it's going to cause a wreck. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, as you can tell, the only one pushing here is the second in line. Third guy in line is not going to push. It's going to cause problems, and none of y'all are going to go faster. This right here is a perfect example of how to bump draft at Talladega. Now, these guys behind him, they're going to have to figure it out. But that third guy knows better than to bump the second guy. If you're the third guy in line and you're bump drafting in the turns or the straightaway, wherever, you're a problem. We're kind of back here behind a bunch of trucks, so we have no business bump drafting back here. You can see up front there, you'll see the second guy in line should be the only one bump drafting. Everybody else behind him should just be trying to stay as close as possible without making a whole bunch of contact. My strategy to avoiding wrecks most of the time at Talladega is if they're going to wreck, they're going to slide up the track in the turns. So I try to keep that bottom groove all the way around the track. If they do get a run on me on the back stretch, like right now, I just let them go around the outside.
Still out there. Clear high.
Notice how I'm backing off the guy in front of me. I'm not bumping him through these turns by any means. It's not going to do anything but wreck both of you. Now, if you got somebody underneath you at Talladega, you should be able to hold it in these lanes like you're on the highway. Notice I'm holding this middle lane like I'm on the highway. You shouldn't be all over the track. Again, notice you got two lines here. The trucks in the front of these lines are going, the second car in line should be the only one bump drafting. Third car in line, fourth car in line, fifth car in line, you shouldn't be touching the truck in front of you. It's not going to do anything but cause havoc. I'm right on the guy in front of me here, as you can tell. I'm not going to touch him. That's not going to do us any good.
Sorry, 9.
Now, if you saw what happened there, I bump drafted when I was third in line. We're not wrecking anybody, but it caused a bunch of issues here, as you can tell. Now we're second in line right here. We got one car in front of us and we're second in line. Now it's time to bump draft away. We're going to try to bump draft him past the guys in front of us. Now watch for somebody to jump up in front of him, because then you're the third car in line. You don't want to bump anymore. So this scenario here, we've dropped down into another lane and we've got trucks in front of us now. I don't want to bump him anymore. Staying out of wrecks here is a 50-50 slot machine bet. You can do your best to watch what's going on in front of you, but when you're running up front up here and you're running this close to the other trucks, the mistakes happen. The chances you get caught up in them are just a lot bigger. Like that right there.
Clear him, clear. Back in. Got the toe knocked out of it. That's that part.
And as we're coming out of the turn, he drifts up and slams us both into the wall. So that was unfortunate. Oof, ouch. Just collected everybody at the end. So that's how the wrecks go at Talladega. You saw two cars get into it. How many actually got wrecked? A lot. Now, obviously, I want you to see here that what Talladega's really like. Okay, so if you think you're not going to get caught up in accidents running Talladega on iRacing, hang it up. Don't even go in there. You just got to deal with it and move forward. If you know Talladega at all, you know what I'm talking about, real life or on this game. It's all about just surviving. So stay clean out there. Watch what's going on ahead of you. Easy with the bump drafting. And have fun with it. The advice I'm giving you for this track goes for any other car you'll run at this track. That just goes for super speedways in general. It's a drafting strategy and sometimes a fuel strategy. But for the most part, you've got to figure out how to see an accident that's about to happen and react ahead of time the best you can, and do not cause accidents by bump drafting or sticking your nose where it shouldn't be. The finishes here at Talladega are always crazy. That's another fun part about it. So I hope this helps you a little bit. Again, this is not a setup for Talladega. This is track strategy. Get out there, hammer down, shake and bake, make it happen, have fun. Here we go, big one, the big one. So I could give you as much setup as you want at Talladega, but that's not going to help you. This is a drafting strategy track and an avoid accidents track. Survival at its best. Survive, survive, survive. This. Try your best.
Thank you so much, Dix.
It hurts, but it pays off when you avoid those and you're there at the end.
Man, that's fine, Dix. I'll remember that if I see you again.